We are always looking for the thrill of it, thrill of it. And I'm addicted to champagne. The world in my whole way. They just wanna know where the plane's at. And like that, we're back. Much love, everybody. Hope everybody's having a good one out there. Fucked up. We both amazing what we just done. Mixed traits, no regret this. Honestly, yeah, room sun's bringing us practice. All this money gone, what else is left to do? Smoking, enjoy my presidential view. Got a swimming pool in my living room. On exchange interviews, tons of sound. Let's consume. Give up shot. Thrill of it, thrill of it. Gin for the thrill of it. And I'm addicted to champagne. Ooh, time to take a ripski. They just wanna know where the plane's at. All right, y'all. Get the camera right. Much love, everybody. There we go. Oh yeah, there we go. What's this? Oh
yeah, that's what it is. So I tried the next one. Just that.
Oh yeah, there we go. Wake and bake, baby.
Mixtape 6, 7. But good weed still in the building. Your bitch still hitting me on whatever it is.
Hey man, I think all states. I know the taxes here in Illinois is high and everything, but bro, I think every state should be like this, man, where you could just go to the motherfucking corner store and just pick up weed, man. Like I just went to the corner store and picked up this eighth, man. An eighth for what? $21. So $22 plus tax for an eighth. That's that's around what? $42 a quarter? Like for real, $42 a quarter essentially, dude, when you look at that. I got this from the BP store. Right up the road, Joe. The BP. They're selling weed at the BP, my dude. They say they get all their weed from Colorado and they get it shipped to the store. I'm like, bro, that's cake. Like they can do that here. The fucking corner stores, Texaco, whatever it is, bro, BP, don't matter, any store, your own store. Like they can sell bud in there, bongs, all that shit, bro. You just go to the corner store. You ain't gotta go to the dispensary, bro. Like that is clean. Like that's sick. Every state should have this, bro. I don't understand why. You know how much that would take away from the black market? Like seriously, they're constantly always talking about, oh, the black market this. That's why they want to regulate cannabis every time we pass laws, just like in Nebraska where they just passed it, and now they just passed more regulations on the cannabis industry, the medical cannabis industry in Nebraska. Like it's crazy, dude. And they're talking about, well, we're trying to keep it away from the black market. Bro, when you constantly fucking overtax and you overregulate cannabis in the cannabis industry and you dictate how many plants an industry can, someone in the industry can grow, a company can grow, or a personal, grow, saying I can only have this many plants. When you put stipulations on something that we vote for, you're gonna push it to the black market. That's Make that make sense, dude. You want to keep it from the black market, but you're creating regulations and laws and taxes and overtaxing the cannabis, which is going to make motherfuckers go to the black market. So here in Illinois, yeah, I know the taxes are crazy for weed. That's a given. So many people have talked about that, how taxes are crazy here, bro. But man, being able to go to the corner store and be able to pick up an eighth of weed for freaking $22 essentially, plus tax. You know what I'm saying? That's a pretty good price right there, bro. Like if everybody could just go to the corner store, they wouldn't be going to no freaking black market, bro. Like that junk is. I've never experienced anything like that in my life, bro. Been able to just go to your corner store and get meds, homie. Every state should be like that, for real, for real. That's crazy. There's no reason why we have these laws that we have on cannabis in 2025, where they're dictating, bro. Like right now, they're passing laws to dictate what you can have, the amount of THC you can have, the amount of plants you can grow, bro. Like I never understood that. How we, as citizens, we voted in. We vote in cannabis, bro. Yet politicians are allowed to stipulate and regulate on what we voted on. Like when we vote on this show, we should be able to grow what we want to grow when it comes to cannabis. We should be able to grow as many plants as we want to grow.
Incoming dishes. Dawn Power Wash flies through 99% of grease
I don't get it.
half the time.
It absorbs grease 5 times faster. It even replaces multiple cleaning products.
Those suds got game.
Dawn
Cheers,
Power
everybody.
Wash, the better grease getter.
Let's fuel up, Limo. Lots of people to tell about customizing and saving with Liberty Mutual. Those are mine.
Politicians trick me out,
Doesn't
fam.
have to be uncomfortable.
Left, right.
Flu nasal mist works like.
They're the same forked tongue on the same headed snake, bro.
Flu nasal mist.
I don't know when people are gonna figure that out. Politicians don't give a fuck about us, bro. Like, because if they did, listen, here's the whole funny thing about this shutdown, all right, that we're in. These jokers are still getting paid, bro. Like the title of the stream says. These jokers are still getting paid. They go home at night. They're still getting their money. So they don't give a fuck that people who fight for our country are having to go to the motherfucking soup kitchens and shit and having to go to food banks. That's literally what's happened. They're telling them, hey, bro, commissaries and all this stuff's going to shut down unless they motherfucking get this junk together. Y'all gonna have to go to the food banks. Well, guess what? Food banks are already back the fuck up. So it just wild, bro. I don't get it. And this whole ICE shit that's going on, but up there in Chicago, it's only a matter of time before a fucking ICE agent gets shot. Like, I'm on my words. We talked about this shit last month when this shit started popping off, and I said they were gonna send these people to Chicago and Memphis. I told y'all you're gonna have some gangsters out there that's gonna pop off on one of them. And once a fucking ICE, I mean, actually, they just had ICE agents that was on the news. They got shot at. Somebody did a drive-by in a Jeep when they were ICE agents was out enforcing and taking someone in. As they were enforcing their takedown and whatnot, somebody drove by and said, pop, 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 out of a Jeep. That was just on the news. I can look that shit up. Hold up. Let me show y'all this right quick. So, I'm telling y'all, man, it's only a matter of time before an ICE agent gets shot. And then Trump's going to be able to just go ham, dog. Bring the military in like heavy force. Chicago ICE officers shot at. Yeah, here it is right here, y'all. Check this shit out. That junk's crazy, bro. Here it is right there. An ICE officer was shot at during a drive-by shoot in Chicago's Little Village neighborhood while conducting immigration enforcement operations, but no injuries were reported. Yeah. So, that junk's crazy, bro. I'm telling y'all. I told y'all when this shit started popping off months ago. Before Trump even said he was going to send agents in, I told y'all, someone's going to get shot. You're going into the wrong motherfucking area. Like, you're going to get popped, bro. And then that's going to be able to set some shit off. And that's the whole plan. I'm telling y'all, it's an agenda. It's a plan to be able to have martial law in this country. Total control. That's what he wants in the end, is total control, homie. This is going to allow him to be able to have total control, fam. If an ICE officer a federal agent gets shot, bro, telling y'all. Shit's fucking crazy out here. I don't get it. Motherfuckers need to change their energy, bro. You know what I'm saying, bro? Man, that's crazy as shit. That is crazy, bro. I mean, at what point do we say, holy cow? Man, that stuff is good, bro. Ooh wee, son. Cheers, everybody.
Yeah.
Much love to the two peeps still hanging out. Hope everybody's having a good one out there today, man. Trying to keep your heads up out here in this crazy world we're in. Like, for real. Like, for real, man. Mm. Mm-mm. I don't get it, y'all. Like, here's the thing. It's like once again, if they care about us, y'all, and they care about the things that they're consistently spewing, okay, which is always, it's for the children. It's for the children. We got to do this for the children. That's what they're always throwing in our face, Brittany. All right. Oh, your brain hasn't fully developed type shit. Okay. There's no reason to increase the legal age for marijuana use to 25, new scientific paper concludes. The theory that marijuana can negatively and potentially permanently rewire the brain up until a person reaches the age of 25 is based on misleading science that neglects to account for key factors in cognitive maturity, according to a new research paper. The study published on Monday in the American Journal on Drug and Alcohol Abuse examined the scientific literature around neurodevelopment. While most U.S. states prevent people under 21 to access adult-use cannabis products, some public health advocates are pushing to the legal age limit of 25. But researchers who are affiliated with the advocacy group Doctors for Drug Policy Reform conclude that those proposals would not meaningfully prevent adverse mental health outcomes for consumers. Invoking age 25 as a bright line for brain maturity is not supported by neuroscience, they wrote. Cannabis policy should reflect evidence and fairness, not mythology. The paper states that there's no empirically designed neurodevelopmental endpoint at age 25, as brain maturation is a nonlinear process region specifically influenced by sex and specific physiological processes. Importantly, existing evidence does not demonstrate greater long-term cognitive and neurophysiological harm attributable to cannabis use in individuals aged 18 to 25 years compared to those older than 25. So, all right, they're always saying, you know, we're gonna do this for the kids and shit like that. Oh, their brain's not fully developed, whoopie wop wop, you know, even at 18, you know, so we need to take this up. All right. And it's always the laws. Even with THCA, it's for the kids. We need to do it for the kids. Yet you allow on the other side kids to be exposed to social media at such a young age. You parents out here throw devices and give your kids these devices and stuff like that to essentially babysit them, all right, in a lot of cases, but not knowing that this is more detrimental to your kid's psyche and to your kid's growth, all right, and to your kid's mental health than cannabis. Like, for real, for real. This is more dangerous to your children than fucking weed, yet this shit is unregulated as fuck. You know what I mean? Like, for real. Think about that, dude. I don't get it. And another thing, okay, you want to say that your brain's not fully developed, okay, at 18. All right, your brain's not fully developed. It's for the kids. It's for the children. We don't want nobody smoking weed because their brain's not fully developed. You shouldn't smoke weed until the age of 25. You shouldn't smoke weed until the age of 21 because your brain's not fully developed, right? This is what they're always trying to throw at a motherfucker, right, guys? But on the other hand, once again, who's going into our military? What age group goes into the military and ends up dying, bro? Our kids, 18, 19, 20 years old. Okay, so it's okay for our children to go sign up for the military and die, but it's not okay for them to come home and smoke some weed, and not okay for them to come home and drink a beer. They're not 21 yet. Be 19 years old, bro. Go over to the military. All right, boom. You're over there, homie. You see one of your buddies get shot and killed right in front of you, IED. You can't come home at 19 years old and have a beer or go fucking get you some motherfucking shit because you're not 21. But it's okay for this kid to go fucking lose his life. And it's okay for this kid to go sign up and potentially lose his life, but he can't come home and smoke and drink. That don't make a lick of fucking sense. But it's for the kids' development, right? Their brains aren't developed yet, so we need to fucking regulate. This is illegal. It don't make a lick of fuck. Make that make sense to me, please. Make that shit make sense, you guys. I don't fucking get this country. I don't get the fucking laws that we have in this country. I don't get what's going on in our country right now. I don't get why what's good for the goose is not good for the gander. Why you do this and don't do that. It's this the whole left and right bullshit. Democrat, Republicans, left and right. Fucking, that's like Brittany said the other day. They're the wings of the same bird. They're the same forked tongue of the same headed snake. You know what I'm saying? I don't fucking get it, bro. What's up, stinkers? Much love, everybody. I don't understand this shit. I wanted y'all to see that, though. That junk don't make no sense, you guys. And in Nebraska, they just made it where they're only allowing the industry in Nebraska to they're only allowed to have so many. I think they're only allowed to have 3 retailers for cannabis, and they're allotted only a certain amount of plants. Okay, so check this out. The way it is, the amount of plants that they're allotted, it's lower than the amount of customers and patients that they're gonna have, and you're only allowed 3 fucking dispensaries essentially. Let me look this up. I want y'all to see this shit, man. In Nebraska, this junk is fucking crazy.
What?
I want y'all to see this.
Oh.
All right.
Oh. Oh.
Where's this junk at? I want y'all to see this. All right. Let's go over here.
when I was young. I had dreams of getting richer. Then my homie Breeze set me down, schooled me to the picture. I was with some wild niggas. Put me on the game, told me if you try to make your move, you gotta know your lane. Homie, all you got your name. Never break it for this life. You pay a price, you get a chance, you gotta take it. Cause most niggas never
right here. I want y'all to see this. The standards get a gun. Cornbread kiss. Alright, let me find my boy. Oh, I had all of these. Where is he at? I'm too straight up off the. And now let's get medicated.
Let's get medicated. Man, I'm hella faded.
Man, let's get medicated.
So a traditionally prohibition state which recently legalized the good herb for medicinal purposes is facing tons of backlash and pressure amid recent controversy. Nebraska voters approved medical herb back in 2024, but as of today, nothing is rolled out. The program is still not operational. On top of that, Nebraska's Cannabis Commission is going crazy with wild regulations including plant production limits. And now things are heating up even more after an Omaha tribe became the first in Nebraska to legalize the good herb, and officials are threatening to prosecute people who buy herb on the tribal reservation and even calling it poison.
First Alert 6 continues to press local officials about medical marijuana.
Our Bella Caracta joins us live in the studio with the latest developments since her investigation last night about confusion over the new laws. Bella?
John, Aaron, when I spoke with Omaha Police and the city prosecutor's office last week, they had nothing new to offer about what they're going to do if they come across someone with medical marijuana and a written recommendation from a healthcare practitioner.
So as you guys can see, since the rollout of medical herb in Nebraska, it's been a bit of a problem. It seems like no one knows what's really happening, and the official program has not been rolled out yet. And on top of that, the new Nebraska Medical Cannabis Commission only met for the first time about 5 months ago. Have a look.
A new state board springs to life today. It's the Medical Cannabis Commission.
Well, during the legislative session, there were many failed attempts to create guardrails to regulate medical marijuana. Now the panel will have to chart its own course.
A new state body born today, but it won't have any time to take baby steps. The clock is ticking as that 1st of July deadline approaches. That's when medical marijuana regulations are supposed to be in place, and the commission says they'll work hard on making sure they stay on track. Murkiness reigns after the inaugural meeting of the state's Medical Cannabis Commission. That's the group that came into being after more than 2/3 of voters approved of legalizing and regulating medical marijuana. The team spent less than an hour covering the ground rules and planning for how they'll meet the tight deadlines ahead. And it all has to happen on a shoestring budget. $30,000 allotted to the commission, but that money can only be used for staffing. We're told they could borrow additional funds from the Liquor Control Commission.
So the Nebraska Cannabis Commission only met for the first time 5 months ago, and that's 1 month before these regulations were supposed to be put into place. So it really begs the question, what the heck is happening? And it seems to me that a lot of focus is being placed on the wrong things, because instead of getting the program set up, operational, and rolled out, they're focusing on limiting plant production instead. Check it out.
Well, less than a month until the Nebraska Medical Cannabis Commission is required to start handing out licenses. Nebraska Governor Jim Pillen is requiring changes of the commission. Pillen wants a limit on the number of plants to be grown in the state. After an emergency meeting Monday, the commission voted in favor of setting that limit at 1,250.
Here it is. This is what I was talking about, y'all.
At any one business.
1,200 plants at one time at any one business, y'all.
They did not intend to set a limit. The Cannabis Commission.
Y'all hear that? 1,200 plants at one time at any business. And they're only allowing so many businesses and so many plants to be grown. Now, that's going to be an issue. They say they're trying to keep it away from the black market, but once again, your laws and your taxes, your regulations are creating that. You're creating the black market. When you have an allotted amount of plants that they're allowed to grow, okay, and you stipulate that, and you stipulate how many motherfucking retailers can fucking, you know, push this to the market, all right, and you have so many consumers which override all of that, okay, your numbers are higher than what you are allowing. Guess what? People are going to go to the fucking black market because the retailers don't have enough product. Because you what? You capped it, you stupid motherfuckers. Like, what the fuck is... Let's keep this going, dude. Idiots.
Next meeting is scheduled for September 30th.
So you guys can already see where this is heading. Regulation, regulation, and regulation. And in a situation where the Cannabis Commission is being pressured by the governor to put in place some of these restrictions, you guys can already see that's a prescription for trouble. And according to this next clip, they're saying it's life or death for many folks. And for that reason, they're going to be setting more regulations.
We begin at 6 with the latest in the effort to legalize medical marijuana in the state of Nebraska.
The clock is ticking for the Nebraska Medical Cannabis Commission. October 1st is when that group needs to start approving licenses to cultivate and sell medical marijuana products.
So they met today to talk about that and new regulations.
It was the first meeting with all 5 Medical Cannabis Commission members in attendance, and the first with clear dissent in their ranks. Disagreements over the allowance of vapes.
Basically, vaping effects within 1 to 3 minutes.
Everybody says vaping is not medicine. And if we have alternatives that are safer, like a tincture that also sublingual that's very fast,
vaping is not
I don't know why we would go to something with all these potential side effects.
Commissioner Bruce.
All right, first off, all right, tinctures don't work for everybody, just like edibles don't work for everybody, all right? I've had tinctures. When I got on the medical program in Minnesota before they went to flower, it was like that in Minnesota. Okay, we were only allowed to have vapes, and the vapes were only in 3 different ones. And they were just colors, and that was it. I don't even remember the fucking strains. It was just a fucking orange, a blue, and then like a yellow one, and that was it. You had edibles, you had tinctures, you had salves, you know, creams and sprays. That was it. That was all we were allowed, man. And that shit fucking sucked. The vape was the only thing that really got me there, but it still didn't get me there like flower. All right, and then Minnesota went to the flower for us as patients, and then we were allowed to get flower. Y'all saw that on the channel when we started bringing in flower, and then like a year later, they went rec. But bro, her saying that's ignorance once again, because our endocannabinoid system, everybody's endocannabinoid system doesn't react the same way to cannabis, to cannabinoids. All right, one strain might hit you differently than it hits me. Okay, you might be able to roll on motherfucking edibles easily. I can't. You might be able to roll on tinctures easily. I can't. You know, everybody's different. And for them fucking just like want to classify shit and throw everything into a goddamn box just shows their pure ignorance when it comes to cannabis. And you know these motherfuckers have never smoked in their life, bro. Like, come the fuck on. you know these motherfuckers are.
Bailey pushed for more cannabis cultivator licenses across the state after the initial regulations called for just 2.
I can't imagine buying a farm and telling me I can't grow corn because my neighbor's growing it.
Right.
So you need to look at that. And let the market bear what's going to happen. You won't grow more than you can sell.
So guys, when it comes to the Nebraska Cannabis Commission, there's a lot of issues that they need to iron out, in particular for this medical program to be rolled out properly. And as you guys would have heard in that last clip, last month the commission was tasked with rolling out some of those first licenses, and thankfully they did. Have a look.
Oh, where should start about this game? Steam.
Y'all, we playing a new song level game.
Nearly a week past the initial deadline, the Nebraska Medical Cannabis Commission has issued the state's first cultivator licenses. 4 licenses are allowed in the state. The Nebraska Examiner reports the first 2 licenses were issued Tuesday, one in Omaha, the other in Raymond. This comes despite reports that Nebraska Attorney General Mike Hilgers would sue the commission if licenses were issued. I reached out to Hilgers' office Wednesday about where this stands. They had no comment. Last week, Krista Eggers with Nebraskans for Medical Marijuana told me there's a lack of listening to what Nebraskans voted for.
I feel very
Exactly.
certain
That's
that
what I'm
we are
saying
going
right
to
there.
face.
Pause, bro. That's what I'm saying right there, chat. Every time. How is it that we as citizens, we vote in something? We vote in like cannabis, which is what we're talking about right now. Voted in medicinally or for recreational, right? At that point, when we voted in, how is it that the government politicians can instantly take control of it, of that vote, and then dictate and regulate and taxate it however they want to, stipulate the laws, which in the end hurts us as the voters, bro? Like that's the facts. Like for real. 8 times out of 10 when we vote this shit in, it doesn't help us. And if it's something that they don't want, they do everything they can to make it hard. You know what I mean? Let's say it's something that we voted in and the government didn't want it type shit. All right. All right. So what are they going to do? They're going to do everything they can to make it hard for you. They're going to overtaxate, overregulate, do everything to make it hard for you. Okay. I mean, and it feels like they're doing that shit on purpose so that, and I know this sounds kind of crazy, but it seems like they're doing this shit on purpose to push out small business, small entrepreneurs who are trying to get into the cannabis game and open it up for big companies and corporations like Philip Morris and Big Pharma to be able to come in with their big bucks and take over the cannabis industry and then do what they want to with it. You know what I mean? That's what I feel. I feel all they're like, well, we don't want weed to be legal since the people voted it in. So we're going to do everything we can to make it hard for the industry so that we can pull it out of the hands of the people and put it into the hands of the corporations. Does that sound crazy? Because that's the way I see this shit heading, is they're trying to make it hard for ordinary people to be able to make it with it, you know, with all of these laws and regulations and overtaxation, and it's just going to push it to the big industry. You know, the big people with the big money, like Philip Morris and all these tobacco companies are going to start jumping into cannabis and stuff in the next few years. Am I wrong for feeling that way? Because that's how it feels, man. It's just making it hard for people.
Huge obstacles with patients actually getting their medicine, and that is not what voters intended. They were very, very clear in their mandate.
And that's a running theme that we see across multiple states. Voters make their voices clear. They make their voices heard, and they make what they want abundantly clear. The people want legalization, whether it's medical or rec. If they have a choice, they're going to make their voices clear. And now we're seeing situations where the governor is actually trying to sue the commission for issuing these licenses. I mean, make it make sense. And on top of all of that, as a result of pressure from the governor, the Nebraska Medical Cannabis Commission passed emergency regulations, which the governor then signed. Have a look.
New at 4:30, a local commission presenting the regulations for medical cannabis in Nebraska. This coming from a hearing today with Nebraska Medical Cannabis Commission. Comments from the public on how medical marijuana should be regulated. A trove of regulations were considered, including restricting judicial districts to only one dispensary, adding a side effects label, and who can qualify for the license.
I do have concerns that in the future litigation could be brought specifically because it is violating what the people passed.
More news now on a story we have been closely following. Nebraska Governor Jim Pillen approves a new batch of emergency regulations from the Medical Cannabis Commission.
Those rules have medical marijuana advocates sounding the alarm because of their limits on the supply chain.
KATV News Watch 7's Capitol Bureau Chief John Grinvalds has the details.
Governor Jim Pillen's signature on a new slate of regulations, what some are saying is the death knell of medical marijuana in Nebraska.
The nail in the coffin on a medical program ever getting started to where patients will see real
I want y'all to hear this, what's getting ready to be said, all right, you guys? Here we go.
access in this state.
A spokesperson with Pillen's office said in part in a release, quote, the governor had asked the commission to consider such a limitation to ensure that an excess of cannabis production would not lead to an unregulated and unintended black market supply. Krista Eggers had led the fight to get medical cannabis in front of voters for years, and she says this is another knock against what 71% of them approved.
To see the will of the people completely disregarded and tossed aside in the creation of these rules and regulations. There's really no words.
The commission decided last week to limit the total amount of cannabis cultivators in the state to 4. And this Monday, they capped the amount of flowering plants they could have to 1,250 each. So 5,000 total plants for an estimated patient population of 20,000.
I believe is going to completely dismantle the supply chain.
Sorry about that. I had to unmute myself. Make that make sense right there. Okay? The people voted it in. You take control of it and you limit the access to it. You limit the amount of plants that are grown. You'll limit the places that people can go to get their medicine. Thereby, you're pushing people to what? Stay in the black market. When you, it's like, bro, this doesn't make a lick of fucking sense, bro. I thought like, all right, when Nebraska got through, bro, I was like, yeah, we're going somewhere in this country, because Nebraska, South Carolina, there's a couple other states out there, Kansas. Like, when you start seeing those states, you know, people voting in, you know, medical, all right, it's like, all right, we're moving, because there's a lot of hardball states that you're just not going to have it happen at this time, because a lot of those are Christian states and they still believe it's the devil's lettuce. All right. And it's a hard road to get it pushed in those states when you have that mentality, especially on the Bible Belt. But it's happening. And when I saw Nebraska pop off with medical, I was like, all right, bro, we're on the road. We're on the road, man, because Nebraska was one of them states. It was like, who wop with the doo-wop. Don't go through Nebraska with some weed on you and get pulled over, because they don't play in Nebraska. And I was like, all right. But now this shit right here, bro, it's like, yeah, it's crazy, fam. They're just going against what the people have voted for. And they're making it harder for people to be able to get their medicine, man.
The product will not be able to
It's only going to push people to the black market.
They will not be able to manufacture enough of it.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it, just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
So you guys can see how this is a massive problem, and this has caused tons of backlash. As you guys can see right here, Nebraska medical supporters slam the restrictive rules proposed by the governor-appointed panel. And again, in a situation where the voters have made their voices clear, they want medical herb. The governor is now taking steps to try to make it so restrictive and really make it difficult for these folks to access it. In fact, he's making it so difficult for the program to even be rolled out in the first place.
Governor Jim Pillen's signature on a new slate of regulations, what some are saying is the death knell of medical marijuana in Nebraska.
The nail in the coffin on a medical program ever getting started to where patients will see real access in this state.
So that's going to affect tons of folks in Nebraska, folks who are just trying to get their medicine. And when you really think about it, are these regulations placed on any other types of medicine? I'm not necessarily sure that they are. Imagine saying that you could only have one pharmacy in your area or in your neighborhood and 4 for the entire state. It causes tons of issues, and that led tons of folks to fill the Lincoln hearing room, as all of them opposed these regulations.
Dozens of people filled the Lincoln hearing room on Wednesday afternoon, voicing their opposition to Nebraska's medical cannabis regulations that make the state's program one of the most restrictive in the entire country.
These regulations make it effectively not accessible in the state of Nebraska. These violate the spirit and the will of the people.
240,000 Nebraskans took the time to sign a ballot initiative because they support medical cannabis.
Others waving signs described a feeling of betrayal. 71% of Nebraskans voted for medical cannabis last November.
Why bother
71
if our
fucking
government
percent,
is
dude.
going to turn around and squash the clear will of the people?
Noticeably absent, the commissioners who passed the regulations. The current rules prohibit smoking, vaping, and use of the flower, only allow in-state healthcare practitioners to recommend medical cannabis, and put tight reins on the supply chain, limiting the number of cultivators and the amount of plants they can have.
So this is absolutely crazy, guys, and you guys can see how it can become a massive problem. But thankfully, the folks in Nebraska stood up against it, and also there may be a silver lining, because the Nebraska tribe was one of the first in the state to legalize the good herb. And I'm going to show you guys a little bit more about that in a bit. it. But before we do, just a quick reminder, if you're getting value from this video, please do like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to support us further, join the ICANN VIP Bean Club or just buy us a cup of coffee. And if you happen to be a home gardener, try the ICANN Organics, use the code LEGAL. It works on the bundle and the beans.
Welcome back. If you've watched the news at all recently, you'll know medical marijuana has been a big issue in the state. In 2024, voters approved medical marijuana after years of fighting by advocates, mostly parents who say their kids could be saved by the drug. But with the votes in, the battle for medical marijuana only ramped up, with roadblocks in the courts from Nebraska's top politicians and within the commission tasked with regulating it. In this series, The Will of the People, 1011's Jake Lawson walks us through the history and future of medical marijuana in the Cornhusker State.
There will be a day very soon that there will be a parent that will go into the doctor's office and medical cannabis will be an option, and that day will be, I think it'll make all of this worth it.
We vote, we get it, and now they're trying to destroy it.
Years of history to end up here in 2025 with medical marijuana legalized, but advocates still fighting.
Some of our, highest elected officials in this state have spent time and money. I'd like to be clear, some of that taxpayer dollars.
Ridiculous.
In fighting what 71% of people passed.
And that's something that a lot of you guys do not necessarily pay attention to. The taxpayers' money is what's being used to battle what the taxpayers want. I mean, it's crazy.
That's absurd, bro.
Before you guys go, oh, it just happens in red states. It also happens in blue states. It's a bipartisan issue. It happens among both party lines. Now, that being said, recently we've seen a situation where the Nebraska Attorney General actually called the good herb a poison and said that anyone who buys it from a tribe within the state does so at their own peril. Now, this is not the first time that the Nebraska Attorney General spoke out negatively against legalization, because just a few months ago he did the exact same thing. Have a look.
It is something we have talked about ad nauseum, and on this road to legalization there have been no shortage of detours. In fact, there's still quite a bit of work to do.
Yeah, state lawmakers are now moving forward with an amendment that would lay the groundwork for regulation by the newly formed Nebraska Cannabis Commission, but it is hitting some serious speed bumps with the Attorney General's office. 1011's Matthew Mittleiter breaks down where medical marijuana stands as of tonight.
But today, Attorney General Mike Hildress came out against both, saying they would serve as a loophole of sorts to purchasing cannabis flower.
That, in my view, would supercharge the black market, is a recreational marijuana bill that has a whole host of negative impacts on the state of Nebraska.
But Senator John Kavanaugh says the law would be a framework for the Cannabis Commission to safely regulate medical marijuana.
Now guys, what I don't get is that a lot of these lawmakers and officials and politicians, they're so scared of the black market. They really are worried about it, and they think that everything they do will just cause the black market to boom. But the truth is, when you guys don't legalize, or you just legalize but overregulate, overtax, oversaturation, all these things, that's what causes the black market to boom. Because a proper regulated recreational market actually causes the black market to dwindle.
Bro,
and on the flip side, it may just lead to
literally, like here, I know the taxes are crazy here in Illinois. I was just saying that earlier. Yeah, the taxes are crazy in the cannabis industry here. All right, it's like overtaxed. But the fact is, bro, you can literally walk down to the corner store, your BP station, the BP, Texaco, Exxon, whatever, bro, Holiday. All right, if the store so chooses to sell it, you can just go there and get weed, bro. Right at the convenience store here in motherfucking Illinois. Like, I just walked like right down the road to the BP station, man, to the BP store. British Petroleum, I don't know, the green, the BP, it's green. All right, y'all know the ones if y'all been around. You've seen the BP stores, BP station. But yeah, I went there, bro, and got a motherfucking an eighth, my dude, of some of this marshmallow, an eighth for like $22 and some change. Like, that's like $40 and some change for a quarter. That's shit, man. I was paying goddamn $140, almost $120 a quarter at one time. I remember $20 a gram, dude. I was paying up in Minnesota before it went legal. I remember that, bro. 7 years ago, paying motherfucking $20 a goddamn gram. So being able to go to the damn store and get that, fam, is crazy. And that's the way it should be, bro. You'll definitely cut back on the black market if you have it like that, bud. Where you people can just go get it anywhere. You don't just have to go to a dispensary. You just go to the store, man, or a little shop, smoke shop or whatnot, and get your meds. That's the way it should be, dude.
Folks to take matters into their own hands. For example, the Omaha tribe of Nebraska, which became the first government in the state to fully legalize the good herb, both for medical and recreational purposes.
Soon, some Nebraskans will be able to buy marijuana in Nebraska. But there's a catch. It'll only be sold by the Omaha tribe and only on native land, about an hour away from Omaha.
The Omaha Tribal Council adopted Title 51 today. KETV News Watch 7's Pete Cudahy spoke with the Attorney General of the tribe in an exclusive on-camera interview about what this means going forward.
Tuesday, the Omaha Tribe of Nebraska made history.
Being a content creator can feel like you've always got to be on, always live. It's overwhelming.
Becoming the first tribe in the state to fully legalize and regulate cannabis.
This has been a priority of the tribe for going on 10
easily
years
accessible.
now.
Title 51 will
accessible.
create a tribal cannabis regulatory commission and legalize the sale of medical cannabis. It will also make it legal for adults 21 and older to purchase and use recreational marijuana, but only on reservation land. Prior tribal cannabis offenses will also be expunged. Attorney General for the tribe, John Cartier, says they're seizing an opportunity to show tribal leadership.
There's a void left intentionally by the Nebraska state in their slow rollout, really dragging their heels with their own Nebraska Cannabis Commission.
A move they call necessary after the reconciliation bill was passed.
So it's really interesting to see that the Omaha tribe is taking matters into their own hands. And what we're seeing is a little bit of a standoff between Nebraska's Attorney General and the Omaha tribe's Attorney General. And things have even gone so far that state officials were hinting at prosecuting people for buying herb on the reservation lands. And that led to the Nebraska tribe to push back.
We begin tonight with what is poised to become a long fight between the state of Nebraska and the Omaha tribe of Nebraska.
Earlier this week, we told you how the tribe felt as though they were being threatened by the state because they created their own medical cannabis commission.
Today, another back and forth from the two sides. Here's some of what the Attorney General had to say in Lincoln.
You are not a licensed dispensary or cultivator. You cannot operate in the medical marijuana world under current state statute. So that would be a violation of state law. And you certainly cannot do a recreational.
The Attorney General for the Omaha tribe of Nebraska, John Cartier, tells me, first off, they're not talking about recreational marijuana. Secondly, he says Nebraska doesn't get to control how the tribe designs its own licensing and compliance on tribal land. That because Nebraska recognizes medical cannabis and regulates it, those are civil regulatory rules, not criminal prohibitions. The tribe also says the state is threatening to position troopers at the highways in and out of the reservation to Macy, Nebraska.
Anyone who tries to go to the tribal lands to buy marijuana for any purpose does so at their own peril, and I would highly discourage them from doing that.
The tribe responds in this way. What a purchaser does off the reservation is governed by state law, not tribal law, that will make it clear with visible notices and responsible use guidelines. But the tribe also stresses no matter what Nebraska Medical Cannabis Commission comes up with in Lincoln, Nebraska voters made it legal for a qualified patient to possess up to 5 ounces of product, which is more than what's been put in the current set of rules.
So you all can see how feisty things are getting between the Nebraska Attorney General and the Omaha tribe. And that also led to further claims of retaliation by the tribe on the part of the Nebraska Attorney General. Have a look.
New tonight, the Omaha tribe claims Nebraska's Attorney General is retaliating against their medical marijuana program.
The tribal attorney general says he received a phone call from the state about an unrelated matter. First Alert 6's Andrew Pfeiffer is live in the studio. Andrew, tell us more about this phone call.
Brian, the Omaha tribe says it was about a tobacco tax compact, a way to share revenue from the state's tobacco sales tax. The negotiations were fairly new between the Omaha tribe and the state of Nebraska. But after that phone call, the Omaha tribe's Attorney General, John Cartier, questions the timing, calling it suspicious at best, considering the tribe is currently in the middle of creating its own cannabis commission.
Certainly retaliation, that's what was said explicitly to me over the phone.
The phone call from the Nebraska Attorney General's office, according to John Cartier, came an hour before the tribe's first cannabis commission meeting.
She told me flat out that the Attorney General's office was not going to move forward on our tribal tobacco tax compact because the tribe is going to engage in the medical cannabis industry.
Now guys, just let that sink in, and unsurprisingly, the government is moving like the mafia. They're basically telling the sovereign tribal nation that unless you do this, you're not gonna get this. And again, they're two completely unrelated issues. One is tobacco, one is medical herb. But what the officials are trying to do is bring the two of them together and penalize them because they did one but not the other.
We were promised certain revisions, certain follow-up for weeks, months, until an hour before our commission hearing where they just flat out said they're not going to do it because we're doing medical cannabis.
On Wednesday, the state's attorney general says he would not speak about private conversations publicly, but gave some insight from the state's perspective.
I'm not talking about my private conversation with the council for the tribe, but when we met with the tribal members, what they asked for was a 90% cut of state tax revenue, 90%, which is like $300,000 plus or minus. Now, if you ask them the question, well, what does the state get it for that? The answer is nothing.
Hildreth says the state would not benefit, but Cartier says the state has done other tax compacts and they're only retaliating because of the tribe launching medical marijuana programs.
The Omaha tribe doesn't have a dispensary license, do they? They don't have a cultivator license, do they? It's one question about selling to tribal citizens, but it's a totally another question selling to non-citizens. They don't have a license to do that.
Cartier says they're simply upholding what voters asked for.
So there's going to be a little bit of back and forth between those two for quite some time. But what's really interesting is that, you know the old saying, if you can't get something done through someone else, it's best to just do it yourself. And that's exactly what the Omaha tribe did because they held a meeting to create their own cannabis commission. Have a look.
Of debate and stalled efforts to legalize medical cannabis in Nebraska, the Omaha tribe is moving forward on its own, and it could mean relief for some patients who have waited years for access. Today, tribal leaders convened for their first cannabis commission, taking a major step toward launching the state's first regulated cannabis industry. First Alert 6's Brenna Kiefner has more from this historic meeting.
Here at Macy, the Omaha Tribe of Nebraska just hosted its first ever Cannabis Commission meeting. Today's agenda included swearing in members, appointing officers, and reviewing draft rules that could change the cannabis industry throughout the state. 4 commissioners took their oaths, launching the tribe's cannabis regulatory framework.
This game.
All right, that win is kicking some ass. Y'all get the gist of it, man. Like, they're just, I don't get it. Don't get it, dude. I don't get it. Thank God I got a chauffeur. I don't get it, yo. Let's smoke some weed, yo. I'm a member of the sleep team. Cheers, everybody.
Yeah, we been fly with owners, got them acting like they been before, but they ain't never been at all. 8 balls don't heal no hall, ain't have time to fuck with y'all. Yeah, man, we celebrate. King said so I smell the hate. Middle finger, we getting paid. Cops must don't break that A, that dotted line name like that day. Comic book, let me illustrate like Tao Bang when they lift that kid. My cousin died, wish I could get that day. Rap like it's a vertebrae. And bring that nigga on the street. About to never be about it, they don't want to be, cause that's what me. So anything you need, you know that's on me. And that's on
Oh, wait. Man, let's get medicated.
Let's get medicated. Man, I'm hella faded. Man, let's get medicated. Let's get medicated.
Oh, shit.
Let's get medicated.
Man, I'm hella bad. I'm hella bad. What? Fortnite had an update? Motherfucker. Nah, we don't have no snow. Let's get medicated. No snow. Alright. Ew. Well, you do? Son of a bitch, she's got snow. No, not the snow. Alright, y'all. I'll be back.